Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back once again. It is me, Molt. So today we're going to be doing something that I haven't done in about 6 months, and that's another real talk. So for those of you that are new to this whole concept, is something that I try and do just to I give viewers advice about things that I've gone through in my life that might help, or just my opinions on things. Because I know a lot of you are in middle school or high school or college, whatever it may be. I'm 29 years old, so I've been through a lot of stuff, and I just want to kind of have a place for you guys to talk in the comments and to just kind of express some things that you're going through. So I just want to start off by saying, if you guys have any questions throughout this that you would like my opinion on, hashtag Real Talk in the comment. Or you can always follow me on Twitter as well. It's Molt_YT. You can tweet at me, hashtag Real Talk. And anytime that I do a video, we'll try and knock this out. But the questions that I have today came from the last one that I did about 6 months ago. So some things have probably changed, but they're still pretty good questions. So we're just going to go ahead and progress through these, okay? So the first one, how do you handle depression for the first time, if it's like your first time really being depressed? And also I want to clarify for y'all, a lot of these questions will kind of overlap, so if you see that someone else has asked a question pretty similar to yours, just leave a like on it, and then that'll boost it up and I'll be able to find it easier. So this first one, how do you handle depression for the first time? I don't know if I've ever struggled with depression for a long period of time. But I have definitely gone through stuff in my life that has been pretty depressing. And honestly, in the moment, it doesn't feel like there's any escape. I'm sure that those of you that are dealing with it know that feeling. For me, being a Christian, one of my best escapes is just being positive and spending time in prayer and around other positive people. So for those of you that are dealing with depression, guys, as much of it as possible is a choice. Like, it really is a choice. There's this pastor that I listened to. He said that we need to talk to our thoughts, not let our thoughts talk to us. And so what that means is, like, oftentimes we have voices in our head that say, like, you're not good enough. Nobody likes you, nobody wants to be your friend, all of that kind of stuff. And that's our thoughts talking to us. But we have the power to talk to our thoughts. We have the power to say, no, you know what, that's not true, okay? I do have people that like me. I do have friends. I do have this. And if you feel like you don't have friends in this moment in your life, that's okay. There's definitely certain parts of people's lives where you have more friends, you have less friends, you have really, really good friends, you have bad friends, you have all of that. And something I would challenge you guys to understand is that life, while it is so short in the grand scheme of things, you should never get caught up in any certain moment, because you're always kind of moving forward, you know? So you may be depressed now, you may be frustrated, you may be stressed out, you may be anxious, but there's always something out there that you can be positive about, that you can talk about, that you can tell yourself is a good thing. Like, if you're in America, you can say, well, at least I don't have to deal with what's going on in Uganda or in Korea and places like that. Like, you can say to yourself, well, okay, you know, I'm going to try my best to be positive. And that can really help out with depression, because depression is negative. Depression is thinking negative thoughts. It's not being positive. And so for those of you that may be dealing with that, just try and be as positive as you can, guys. Really, that's honestly what it is. You got to be optimistic. You got to be a half glass full kind of person. And that really, really will help out as much as possible in those scenarios. But obviously, if depression's really, really bad, then seeing a counselor or something like that is the way to go. Next, how do you deal with social anxiety or just anxiety in general? Now, for me, this hits at home, because over the last 2 years, you guys probably wouldn't know this from watching my videos, but I've been a very anxious person. I've had multiple anxiety attacks. I've gone to the hospital because of anxiety attacks. I've thought that I was having heart attacks, all this kind of stuff. So I've been a very, very anxious person. So I can speak to you guys from a real place. right now, from my experiences over the last 2 years. For those of you that deal with legitimate anxiety, maybe you're on medicine, maybe you're not, whatever it may be, here's something for me that's really, really helped, okay? And it's telling yourself, I've been here before, okay? Now, if you can get that in your head and you can repeat that to yourself, it will do wonders for you, because it's done wonders for me, and I've gotten so much better at my anxiety. Like, over the last 2 years, you start getting anxious, you can feel it in your body, you feel it in your head, and you subconsciously start to freak out, and then eventually it goes away. Like, nothing ever happens. Like, yeah, you might have an anxiety attack, but even for my anxiety attacks, when I went to the hospital, they were like, you're totally fine. Like, you were just freaking out. And that's something that's crazy about anxiety, is that it's chemical and you can feel it and everything, but nothing really happens. And so for me, like, I can say, I've been there before. I've been in the worst part of it. I've gone to the hospital because of an anxiety attack. So I can say, like, when I'm starting to get anxious, I've been here before. You know what I mean? And just really stepping back and looking at every single case where you've been anxious, where you've been afraid, where you've freaked out and you thought something was going to happen and then nothing did. If you can look back at those cases in the moment of you having a panic attack or being anxious, it's going to help so much. Being able to say, I've been here before, and last time was a week ago or 3 days ago, whatever it may have been, and look, I'm still here. I'm fine. So that's the thing I would say about anxiety from a personal standpoint that's really, really helped me a lot. Next, how do you stop bullying? Well, you can never really stop. You can't make decisions for other people. So I was bullied a bunch in like middle school and high school just because I was a little guy. I was made fun of a lot, and it wasn't good. I would just kind of laugh it off. And honestly, it's probably not as bad as what goes on today, because that was 15 years ago for me. But I know what bullying can be like, and I know what being made fun of can be like. So what I would say for bullying, guys, is understanding that the person that's doing the bullying is extremely insecure. They are not secure in themselves enough, so they have to pick on other people. And that's like what happens to me in the comments with quote-unquote cyberbullying, where people are just rude and mean. I'm sure that it's going on in the comments right now. And you just have to be able to understand, like, that person is in a sad place. Like, honestly, in a worse place than you. The bully is very confused. They've got stuff going on in their life that's making them act out, that's making them be like, all right, well, if I have to deal with this, then I'm going to make somebody else deal with it and try and make myself feel better by putting them down or making them feel like that. So what I would say for those kinds of people, if somebody is bullying on you, or being mean like that, or bullying on a friend, just first of all know that they're very insecure. I wouldn't say that because that's probably going to make it worse. But I was just reading through the comments in the last video, and someone was like, Mo, because of your advice, like, I was able to ask this kid, like, why are you bullying me? Like, why are you being mean? And he said now the guy's nice and they're like friends. Like, that was really cool to read. So I would just dare to say that when it comes to handling bullies, just not fueling the fire, trying your best to turn the other cheek. That's another biblical term that I would say. Like, kill them with kindness is another kind of thing you could hear people say. In the Bible, it talks about that. It's like whenever you respond positively to somebody negative, they don't know what to do, and it just like confuses them so much. So as best as you can, try and do that with bullies. Obviously, each situation is different. You may have to talk to somebody if it gets too bad, but just knowing that and being positive back to them could really confuse them and just kind of diffuse the situation. This next question is actually really good. It says, what do you think about swearing? Okay. Now, as a Christian, you know the Bible says, don't let any unwholesome talk come out of your mouth, etc. And I do think that that's true. I do. Now, in my opinion, because you can take so many things in the Bible differently, but obviously there's a basis behind it. Ultimately, do I think that swearing is good or necessary? No, I don't. That's why I don't swear in my videos. That's why I don't do any of that, because I don't think that it's a positive thing. I don't think that swearing is a positive thing. Now, could that change depending on who you're with? Yes. Like, if I'm with my best friend and we're just hanging out being stupid, then swearing can be less aggressive depending on how you use it. Like, something about the way that love is described in the Bible, it says that it's not rude, okay? And whether you believe in the Bible or not, many of the teachings inside of it applied to everyday life, like loving people, being positive. And so it says, like, love is not rude, love is not impatient. Like, yes, that's true. It doesn't matter if it's from the Bible or not. It's true. And so what it says is, it says love is not rude. Now, I feel like the majority of people in the world can take cursing as a rude thing. So if you're trying to love people, if you're trying to be positive, then I don't think that cursing is, or swearing is the way to go. Because it can be taken as rude from people, whether you mean it or not. Now, if you're in your own home and you're whatever, then that's fine. If you're joking around, but if you're cussing in a negative sense and it's making things worse or making you mad, then again, no. I would say, I would most definitely say that I would not go that route, just because it's a negative thing. It's not positive. But again, all of this, I don't support it. I don't think that it's necessary. I don't think that it's good. I think that you can talk without doing it. And I don't think that it's a loving thing. So that's the biggest thing, is if you're trying to love people and you're trying to be positive, then no, I don't think that it's I don't think that it's good. Next, your family members are getting sick. Somebody that you love is getting sick. I've had this happen. I've had grandparents pass away. And I've known people that have gotten sick and died from either old age or disease, whatever it may be. So I've been there with that. And the thing that I can say about that in the moments of sadness, many of you have lost parents or siblings or best friends. I've never lost anything to that extent, just grandparents. But still loved ones at any rate. And I would dare... I keep saying I would dare to say. I would say that, sickness is such a hard thing to deal with, and there's really no way around it except for, again, being positive in the moment, in the situation, and looking at it as, okay, this is what it is. I'm going to trust that the doctors can do their job, and I'm going to try and not add more stress onto the person who is sick, So, like, if you know somebody who's gotten sick, you being angry or upset about it or outwardly, like, emotional, I don't think makes it any easier on the person that is sick, So in those moments, I would say just try and love that person. Try and help them as much as you can. Be positive around there. Talk about the good times. Help take their mind off of the sickness. That's probably the biggest thing, because a lot of people, like, in their moments of whether they have cancer or they have whatever it may be, that's like their mindset at that point. Like, that's what they're dealing with. That's like their day-to-day, especially if they're going through chemo or whatever it may be. So being able to take their mind off of that, even for just a moment, can be really fulfilling for them. So in those times of other people being sick, I would say, like, don't think about yourself and don't think about how sad it makes you feel or anything like that. Take advantage of the time that you still have with them, and then if they're cured, that's amazing. If not, you were able to spend some quality time with them before they left. So that's what I would say about people getting sick. Let's go ahead and move on to the next one. This guy said that his girlfriend is cheating on him. What should he do? I've had experiences with this where I've been cheated on multiple times. And for me, I always tried to be forgiving, because letting bitterness stay inside of you, or sadness, isn't going to help you out in the long run. there's this saying about bitterness where, like, bitterness is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die from it or to get sick from it. So in other words, like, being bitter is an act that you're doing to yourself, expecting it to affect somebody else. Like, they're not getting affected by your bitterness. You know what I mean? It's just you that's getting affected by it. So when it comes to somebody cheating on you, like, forgiveness, yes, that's the biggest thing. If you can learn to truly forgive people and try your best to understand what happened, like, it doesn't mean that it's right if you understand it. It doesn't mean that what they did is right if you forgive them. It doesn't mean that. All that it's saying is that you choose to understand that you make mistakes, whether as grave or not as theirs, that you are a messed up person too. I'm a messed up person. And understanding, like, okay, I'm not going to let this control me. I'm not going to let this affect me. I'm not going to let this make me sad. When sadness isn't a bad thing. Obviously, you're going to be sad in those kinds of moments. When I was cheated on, I was very sad for a very long time. But you have to be able to step back from it and say, okay, I forgive them. I'm choosing to try and handle this as best as possible to where it doesn't affect me negatively. Now, if you know that somebody is actively cheating on you, you should break up with them. Or at least be like, what are you doing? Is this going to change? If they say no, whatever, then I would break up with them because you're better than that. If somebody doesn't find what they need in you, then you shouldn't be with them, honestly. And like for me, my ultimate in a girl, like I've got a girlfriend right now that I love very much. She still doesn't give me everything that I need. The joy that I get is from my relationship in Jesus and being a Christian and having that relationship with Him. And when she doesn't meet my needs of, say, making me feel loved or making me feel positive or whatever, like I can get that from knowing what the Lord has done for me. So for those of you that are in a place where you feel like someone's betraying you, whether it's a friend or it's someone cheating on you, a lot of times I would say if they're deciding that you're not worth it, then you shouldn't be with them. You know what I mean? Like, you should move on. You should go find somebody else that's going to love you, that's going to care about you enough to not tell you by cheating on somebody, you're not good enough. I would rather mess around with this person, or I would rather be with this person because you don't make me happy enough. You don't deserve that. You don't. You do not deserve for someone to either say that to you or say that through their actions. It's not something you deserve. So if you're being cheated on, or you know somebody that's being cheated on, like, yes, oh my gosh, you might feel like they're the one and you're just going to stick around, whatever, I've been there. No, move on. Move on. And if it is supposed to happen, then they're going to realize their mistakes. Something's going to happen to them where they're going to kind of have an aha moment and they're going to be like, this is not how I need to be living. And maybe they'll come back to you. And if somebody who was cheating on you in the past comes back to you, you can give them a chance, but you need to have your guard up, because your heart, guys, your heart is, you only have one of them, and you need to protect it. You need to protect it. You got to be careful of emotions with people. You got to be careful of investing and giving people your heart, because people can mess it up. My heart has been messed up a lot of times from other people, and it takes a while for it to heal, if it even does ever fully heal. So just know that. Be careful giving people yourself. You know what I mean? Yeah, definitely be careful in that regard. And then last, this one just says feeling lonely. You might not believe this either, seeing that I have like almost 1.5 million subscribers, that I could be lonely, but I can be lonely. Being a YouTuber can be very, very lonely, because as much as we don't want to believe it, like, you guys are on the other screen. Like, yeah, I meet fans, and that is awesome. I love running into fans. And seriously, it's really, really fun running into fans. But it can be very, very lonely being a YouTuber, being somebody like that, because I don't have, like, I talk to Nick every day, and even though I do that, it's still lonely. Like, I don't see people besides when I go to the gym or when I do Young Life, and so that can be hard. So when it comes to feeling lonely, guys, you just have to, like, for me, it's reading my Bible, or it's praying, or it's calling my parents or talking to them, and there may be, like I said earlier, when it comes to friends and stuff. My computer keeps going to sleep. When it comes to, what was it, being bullied or whatever, when you feel like you don't have any friends, like that's just going to be another stage. Like, you're not going to always be lonely. It might be a while to when you get to where you're going, but you're heading there. You're on the way. For me, this is kind of a different little story, but I'm getting more tattoos. I'm finishing it up. It's the story of Joseph from the Bible. Very quick story on it. His brothers betrayed him. They sold him into slavery. Obviously, he was feeling very alone there. He was sold into slavery. He ended up being put in prison. And then eventually, after a whole bunch of stuff, he ended up being in the second command in Egypt. Now, the thing is, that took 13 years. It took 13 years for that to happen to Joseph. And for me, like, when I was going through everything, like, I didn't think that I would be doing YouTube where I am now, over 3 years ago. But it was a process, and now I'm here. So in your moments of feeling alone or being afraid, like, know that it's a process and you're getting somewhere. Loneliness can build resilience in people. Our life is a race, guys, and all of the hard things that we go through kind of train us for that marathon. Like, you learn from your mistakes, from loneliness, you learn not to rely on other people. You learn not to need other people for your fulfillment. So I would say, if you're feeling lonely, just know that it might just be a momentary stage thing. There could be some progression from it in the future. Just try and pursue friendships with people. And if somebody doesn't want to be your friend, that's fine. A lot of people don't want to be my friend, and there are some people that I don't want to necessarily be, like, good friends with. Like, I'll still be nice to them and love them, but you know. So yeah, that's gonna be it, guys. If y'all learned anything, I'm not trying to teach or anything. Like, really, I'm just trying to speak my mind for you guys. But comment down below, #RealTalk, guys, #stay positive, and let me know what you guys might want to see in the next episode. All right. I love you guys very much. I mean that. You are who you're supposed to be. You are the person that you are supposed to be. Just know that. Okay?